Offset, one-third of the legendary Migos, once ruling the hip-hop world, is now lying in a hospital bed after being shot over what? A $10,000 gambling debt. But that debt was just the tip of the iceberg. Reports say Offset owes nearly $1 million in gambling losses, and the man who once lived a life of luxury is now begging his ex-wife, Cardi B, for money to stay afloat. Imagine going from performing in sold-out arenas and making $36 million in a year to scrambling for cash to pay off mounting debts. The drama doesn't stop there. Footage has surfaced showing Lil TJ allegedly attacking Offset in the Seminole Hard Rock Casino in Florida, turning a financial dispute into a life-threatening situation. And the tension escalates when Lil TJ calls Offset a snitch, claiming he identified him to authorities. Offset, hospitalized and recovering, is now at the center of a storm that mixes guns, gambling, family drama, and financial ruin. Meanwhile, Cardi B, with a net worth over $100 million, is reportedly being asked to pay a massive spousal support claim, potentially millions, just to help Offset survive his own mistakes. From gambling addiction to IRS tax liens, legal battles, and a crumbling solo career, the story of Offset's downfall reads like a tragedy in real time. This isn't just a celebrity scandal. It's a shocking tale of fame, fortune, and desperation. How did a man who helped shape modern hip-hop end up in a hospital bed, shot, drowning in debt, and publicly begging his ex for money? The answer will blow your mind. Offset's life had always been one for the headlines. The glitz, the fame, the fortune, it was all part of the package when you were one-third of Migos. But as the hospital bed beneath him made painfully clear, that golden era was over. The shooting at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino was not an isolated incident. It was the violent culmination of months, if not years, of financial mismanagement, personal betrayals, and spiraling addiction. It all started, as these stories often do, with gambling. On a Monday night, April 6, 2026, Offset was reportedly involved in a heated argument over a $10,000 debt at the Florida casino. Video footage circulated online showing Lil TJ confronting him, voices raised, tension escalating, and in a horrifying instant, gunfire. While Offset survived, the incident left him physically wounded and publicly humiliated. The internet exploded. Fans and critics alike dissected every frame of the footage. Social media was flooded with comments speculating on the rapper's finances, mental state, and personal life. But the shooting was only a symptom. Behind the scenes, Offset's financial woes were staggering. His gambling debts reportedly exceeded $900,000, compounded by months of borrowing money he could never repay. Lil TJ, in interviews and live streams, claimed he witnessed Offset panicking at the casino, desperate and humiliated, borrowing money from anyone who would lend it. He repeatedly labeled Offset as broke, a harsh public branding for someone who once commanded millions on stage. The combination of mounting debt and public embarrassment created the perfect storm for what would ultimately happen that night. Offset's money problems were not new, nor were they entirely his fault, or at least, not solely. Migos' explosive rise had brought immense wealth. From 2017 to 2019, the trio earned tens of millions, touring nonstop, selling out arenas, and dominating streaming charts. But high earnings often come with higher expenses. Mansions, luxury cars, jewelry, entourages, every aspect of his lifestyle demanded cash flow. And when the group disbanded in 2023, the revenue stream dried up faster than anyone anticipated. Even before the casino shooting, Offset faced multiple legal and financial challenges. A messy solo career lawsuit against Quality Control Music drained time, energy, and money, even after it was dropped. Then came IRS tax liens, $1.5 million for 2022, nearly $500,000 for 2023, and hundreds of thousands more from Georgia's Department of Revenue. That was just the tip of the iceberg. Court judgments totaling over $230,000 from alleged altercations added to the pressure. Every dollar borrowed, every debt unpaid, added weight on a life that had once seemed untouchable. And while Offset's financial empire crumbled, his personal life only intensified the chaos. Cardi B, His ex-wife was now thriving, new albums, touring, business ventures, and a net worth exceeding $100 million. Offset, by contrast, was barely keeping his head above water. The couple's divorce, first filed in 2024, remained unresolved. And when he allegedly demanded spousal support and an asset split favoring him, the numbers were staggering. Reports claimed Offset asked for a 70-30 division, potentially costing Cardi upwards of $50 million. He argued that he helped build her career, co-signing deals, amplifying her brand, and facilitating connections that propelled her success. But the public and private response was clear. Millions could not erase the fact that he had mismanaged his own fortune. Meanwhile, Cardi B did not hold back. Social media was ablaze with her responses. She accused Offset of being an absentee father, failing to contribute to their children's education and expenses, and relying on her wealth to survive. "This isn't a love story anymore," she declared in a live stream. "It's a hostage negotiation, and the ransom is millions." The juxtaposition could not have been more stark. One ex-wife thriving and commanding respect, the other a man once at the top of the hip-hop hierarchy, lying in a hospital bed after being shot, drowning in debts, and publicly humiliated. The story of Offset's downfall was a combination of personal choices, addiction, mismanagement, and unfortunate circumstances. It was a cautionary tale for fans and celebrities alike. Fame does not guarantee stability, and fortune can evaporate faster than anyone realizes. Offset's addiction was at the core of the problem. Gambling is classified as a psychiatric disorder, affecting roughly 0.5% of adults. Among compulsive gamblers, more than 20 end up filing for bankruptcy, and the divorce rate is double that of non-gamblers. The behavioral pattern is strikingly consistent: borrowing from friends, family, or acquaintances to continue gambling, lying about losses, and escalating bets to recover past losses. When personal funds run out, they look elsewhere, including the wallets of ex-lovers or associates. Lil TJ's claims paint a vivid picture: Offset in a casino, panicked, begging for money, borrowing $5,000 at one table, owing $10,000 at the next. These were not isolated incidents, they were symptomatic of a deepening spiral. The hospital scene added another layer of surreal drama. Offset, dressed in a hospital gown, smoking on camera, became a visual representation of the chaos enveloping his life. The internet erupted, with thousands of reactions, memes, and debates. Adding fuel to the fire, Lil TJ publicly mocked Offset, calling him a rat and claiming he had identified him to authorities, further tarnishing his reputation. Through it all, the stakes remained painfully high. His children, Blossom, Wave, and Culture, watched as their father navigated financial ruin, legal battles, and public embarrassment. The contrast between Offset's past glory and current struggle could not have been more pronounced. Once a cultural icon, now a man on the brink, fighting not just for money but for dignity. In this mix of gambling debts, tax liens, lawsuits, and failed career ventures, the story of Offset transcends celebrity gossip. It is a human story of addiction, ambition, and consequence. From the apex of hip-hop fame to the vulnerability of a hospital bed, it's a narrative about how quickly fortune can reverse and how personal decisions ripple outward, affecting everyone around you. And as the dust settles from the casino shooting, one question remains: will Offset find a path to recovery, financially, professionally, and personally, or is this the beginning of a permanent fall from grace? The answer is far from clear. But what is undeniable is the cautionary tale his story tells. Even the most successful, even those who once seemed untouchable, are not immune to the consequences of choices, addiction, and mismanagement. The hospital room was quiet, but the storm surrounding Offset was anything but. While he recovered physically, the financial and personal chaos continued to spiral. The shooting at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino was just the latest chapter in a saga fueled by gambling debts, legal battles, and a marriage gone sour. Reports indicate that even as Offset lay in the hospital, he was attempting to negotiate financial survival, this time with Cardi B. The relationship between Offset and Cardi had always been complicated. Married secretly in 2017, the couple experienced a roller coaster of love, betrayal, and reconciliation. Cardi first filed for divorce in 2020 after infidelity rumors surfaced, but later reconciled. By September 2024, the marriage seemed finally over, only for the drama to continue as Offset allegedly demanded spousal support. According to insiders, Offset claimed he deserved a significant portion of Cardi's assets because he had helped her build her career in the early years, co-signing projects, opening doors, and boosting her public profile. Cardi, however, was not having it. On social media, she went on an unfiltered tirade, calling Offset a deadbeat and accusing him of leaving her to cover their children's expenses. She revealed staggering figures: $10,000 a month for drivers to ferry the kids, $45,000 a year for Culture's tuition, plus countless other costs. Her message was clear. Offset, despite his net worth of $40 million, had failed to uphold his responsibilities as a father and a partner. This ongoing divorce battle wasn't just about money, it was about power and leverage. Cardi claimed in a live stream that the only reason she was technically still married was because Offset was holding her hostage with financial demands. He allegedly wanted millions to walk away, creating a scenario that turned what should have been a private separation into a public spectacle. Meanwhile, Offset's gambling debts loomed large. Beyond the $10,000 that sparked the casino shooting, insiders report he owed nearly $900,000 to various lenders and friends. Experts say this level of debt often drives compulsive gamblers to increasingly risky behavior. When personal funds run dry, the next step is often borrowing from others, friends, acquaintances, or even former partners, just to stay in the game. And that's exactly what happened. Reports indicate that Offset had approached Cardi not for reconciliation, but for money to cover his mounting financial obligations. Legal troubles added further pressure. Court judgments from physical altercations, massive IRS tax liens, and state claims from Georgia created a perfect storm of financial stress. Each debt, each legal obligation, and each missed payment compounded the stress that was already affecting Offset's personal life. The juxtaposition was staggering. While Cardi's career continued to soar, Offset's finances and reputation were in freefall. Even within the world of hip-hop, the fallout was massive. Migos, the group that once defined a generation, had disbanded, leaving Offset to navigate a solo career that never fully recovered. Father of Four, his solo album, debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200, but subsequent releases underperformed. The combination of a stalled solo career, mounting debts, and personal drama painted a picture of a man struggling to maintain his identity and influence in an industry that moves fast. The casino incident wasn't just a physical threat, it was a public reminder of how quickly fortunes could reverse. Lil TJ's confrontation, captured on video, became viral. Social media erupted with debate, memes, and outrage. Fans questioned how someone who had once been untouchable in the hip-hop scene could find themselves in such a vulnerable position. Adding to the humiliation, Lil TJ publicly mocked Offset, calling him a snitch and claiming he had identified him to authorities, a claim that ignited controversy and speculation about loyalties and betrayals within the industry. Offset's children, Blossom, Wave, and Culture were silent witnesses to this chaos. In the midst of hospital visits, legal hearings, and social media storms, they watched as their father navigated crises far beyond what most children could comprehend. The stakes weren't just financial or reputational, they were deeply personal, affecting the family unit and shaping the next chapter of each child's life. Gambling addiction, experts say, rarely exists in isolation. Compulsive gamblers often display a pattern of escalating bets, borrowing from others, and lying about losses. For Offset, this pattern intersected dangerously with his celebrity status. The combination of easy access to large sums of money, a high-pressure public life, and personal insecurities created a perfect storm for catastrophic decision-making. His desperation at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino was not an isolated lapse, it was the visible manifestation of years of risky behavior, compounded by legal, financial, and familial pressures. While Offset's health stabilized in the hospital, the public fallout continued. Media outlets ran continuous coverage, TMZ released exclusive footage of him in a hospital gown, and social media exploded with speculation. The narrative of a fallen star, once untouchable, now lying vulnerable in a hospital bed, captivated audiences worldwide. Every detail, from his debts to his alleged pleas for financial help from Cardi, was scrutinized, debated, and sensationalized. At the heart of the story is a paradox: a man who helped shape modern hip-hop, who married one of the most influential female rappers in history, and who once commanded immense wealth, now finds himself struggling for survival. The combination of personal choices, addiction, and external pressures has created a narrative that is as cautionary as it is shocking. Fans and observers are left asking, how did it come to this? How does someone with so much talent, influence, and resources end up in a hospital bed, shot, and begging for money from an ex-spouse? The unfolding events also cast a harsh light on the nature of celebrity culture. Wealth and fame can create an illusion of security, but they do not shield individuals from the consequences of poor decisions or compulsive behavior. Offset's story is a vivid reminder that even those who seem invincible are vulnerable to the forces of addiction, financial mismanagement, and personal betrayal. As news outlets continue to cover the saga, one thing is clear: this is not a story with a neat resolution. The combination of hospital recovery, unresolved gambling debts, ongoing divorce negotiations, and public humiliation means that the drama is far from over. Offset's next moves, both financially and personally, will determine whether he can recover from this series of missteps or whether this represents a permanent fall from grace. The story of Offset in 2026 is a cautionary tale of highs and lows, of fortune and misfortune, and of the devastating consequences of addiction and financial recklessness. From sold-out arenas to hospital beds, from millions in earnings to hundreds of thousands in debt, the contrast is dramatic and shocking. And as fans, observers, and even critics watch the events unfold, one thing is undeniable: this is the kind of drama that captivates, horrifies, and compels attention in equal measure. Offset's saga is far from over. With the casino shooting as a turning point, Cardi B's unwavering stance on spousal support, and the ongoing financial and legal pressures, the next chapters promise even more tension, revelations, and shocking twists. The question that hangs over it all is simple: can a man who once had it all rebuild his life? Or will this story end as a modern cautionary tale of fame, fortune, and the perils that accompany both? As Offset began to recover physically, the storm surrounding him only intensified. The hospital bed was a temporary sanctuary, but the chaos outside did not pause for his injuries. Social media was ablaze with speculation. Videos of the seminal Hard Rock casino shooting went viral, and critics dissected every detail of his marriage, finances, and personal choices. Every post, every news snippet, seemed to amplify the tension, painting a portrait of a star whose empire was teetering on collapse. Offset's financial situation remained precarious. While Cardi B had publicly rejected his demand for a massive settlement, reports indicate he continued to explore every avenue to stabilize his cash flow. The man who once earned $36 million in a single year with Migos now faced mounting tax liens, legal judgments, and gambling debts that seemed almost insurmountable. Public scrutiny turned every move into a headline, magnifying the stakes and the humiliation. Every missed payment, every court appearance, and every social media post became fodder for critics eager to document his fall from grace. The divorce with Cardi B was far from straightforward. Legal experts weighed in, noting that Offset's claims for spousal support and asset division were unusual given the vast disparity in net worth. Cardi's estimated $100 million empire dwarfed Offset's $40 million, and yet he demanded not just a share, but a figure that could potentially force her to part with millions. This power struggle wasn't just about finances, it was about ego, pride, and public image. Amid the financial and legal chaos, Offset's personal life faced additional pressure. His children, Blossom, Wave, and Culture, were growing up in the middle of this storm. Reports suggested that even as he lay in a hospital bed, he worried about maintaining a presence in their lives. Cardi B, steadfast in her stance, continued to cover most expenses and emphasized the importance of stability for the kids. Observers noted the irony. A man who once seemed untouchable in hip-hop now had to navigate fatherhood, financial ruin, and public shaming simultaneously. The aftermath of the shooting also introduced new tensions with Lil TJ. While authorities had limited charges to a first-degree misdemeanor for disorderly conduct, the public narrative labeled Offset as a snitch in viral footage, escalating the feud further. The alleged $10,000 gambling debt that sparked the confrontation became a symbol of Offset's vulnerability. Media outlets scrutinized every detail, and the narrative of a fallen star borrowing money from others for survival resonated deeply with audiences. Offset's gambling addiction remained central to the story. Experts explained that compulsive gambling often drives a cycle of borrowing, lying, and risk-taking. For Offset, the combination of high-stakes casinos, public scrutiny, and personal desperation created a volatile environment. Reports suggested he owed nearly $900,000 for gambling alone, and while the casino shooting highlighted the danger of this lifestyle, it also revealed the deeper psychological and behavioral patterns that had been building for years. The story also shed light on the broader pressures of celebrity life.